Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the QueenVee podcast, episode 2.
Hey, let's go! I'm so excited.
Yo,
oh man,
guys, we made it for episode 2. We freaking did it.
We gosh darn done it. And I just want to say before we start, a huge thank you to everyone who pulled up to our first episode. Amazing
Absolutely.
Reception. I loved hearing what everyone had to say. And I also loved hearing that people watched till the end. That was the big piece there. That was super kind of them.
1000%. And because we know like podcasts can go a little long, we can get a little rambling-y. But no, yeah, we want to thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. I know I had a couple people ask me where the Apple Music and Spotify links are. They're in the works. They're in the works. But right now, exclusively on YouTube. But they are coming. They are coming. So stay tuned.
We'll keep you updated.
Yes, sir. But
as I say in my classroom, in a moment, but not yet.
In a moment, but not yet. Okay, children, in a moment, but not yet.
At this point in the video, I do want to lay out a little bit of a trigger warning. I am going to be sharing a little bit of my story that can be triggering to some, so please, viewer discretion is advised. Skip past to the next part of the video if you need to, just to see our reactions, because it is a real experience, and we do talk a little bit about something that can be sad, be disturbing, and a little bit sexual, so please keep that in mind.
So as Queenie stated, I'm just going to reiterate that these events did happen, they are real, and these events should not be taken lightly. If these events do trigger you, I implore you to please skip ahead to the time stamped on screen right now, and we appreciate your support. Let's get on to the podcast. But oh, ladies and gentlemen, especially the ladies, I want you to strap in because we got a juicy podcast for you tonight.
You already know that this was going to be the second topic we discussed.
You already
if I'm
knew.
on the podcast, you know this is what we're going to be talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Also, before we get into things, I just want to address some of the audio issues we may have had in the last episode. I am aware that we did have some Queenie peaks, and we did have some VK softness. But hopefully those are fixed now. Queenie might still peak because she's Queenie, and that's what she does.
If it hasn't already been said, command volume warning. Hashtag volume warning. It's already been said.
But hopefully, my goal for this podcast is hopefully that the audio levels are now balanced instead of Queenie being at one volume and me being at another. Hopefully, we're on the same one. So if not, we're still working on it. I want you guys to hang in. But like I said, you're in for a juicy, juicy podcast.
Moment I've been waiting for.
I know. I'm so excited. Week. So if you guys want to pull up some popcorn, pull up some tea to listen to the QueenVee and the QueenBee. Let's get it. Yo, those are some bars right there.
That was some bars.
But before
if that's not the intro for our future videos,
yeah,
I don't know.
I agree. Pull up some tea to listen to the QueenVee with QueenBee and the V.
And the VK.
Fire.
Yeah. Fire.
But
hashtag fire.
Hashtag fire. Fire emojis. But before we get into the main topic of this video, Queenie actually sent me a very interesting video that I think we want to kind of talk about. Because in the last episode, we talked about the difference between Twitch and YouTube. And I think after watching this video, I know, at least for me, that my perception of streaming on YouTube has completely changed. And I just want Queenie to intro this video because it was her video that she brought up, and I'm really shook about this video. So Queenie, take it away.
Yeah, okay, so for some context, I am someone who has always thought about going to YouTube. Even when I first started, I just thought, based on my research, that getting into Twitch as a small creator was a lot easier than getting onto YouTube as a small creator. And I'm subscribed to a lot of smaller creator channels that work on growth, whether you are a small streamer or a medium-sized streamer, one of them being Harris Heller. But in this case, the video that I sent to VK was by LJ, also known as the creator of Streams. And his video was talking about the big update that YouTube is going to be rolling out that will help small creators and will have a huge movement of medium-sized creators move from Twitch to YouTube. And the main premise of the video is talking about the 4 things that YouTube is doing after hearing creator feedback, and how Twitch's ad plan for the next little while, and it's a lack of attention towards creator needs is going to create this gap and this need that YouTube is going to be filling. So there were 4 main topics that the video that LJ talked about, and I feel like after watching the video and hearing about my apprehensions about YouTube, I feel like if this is something that YouTube is going to be doing, then this is something that I am interested. And I can honestly see in like a month or two, creators that are on Twitch starting to beef up their YouTube content in preparation for the new year and in preparation for some big move. And when I say big move, I'm not talking about the YouTube partner program coming in and poaching these large creators and offering them tons of money. We're talking medium-sized creators that are going to be making almost, if not more, of the money that they were currently making with the same amount of content. So I guess the first point of the 4 is talking a little bit about discoverability. So VK, can you give us a better glimpse of what discoverability currently looks like on Twitch versus YouTube gaming?
Yeah. So right now the discoverability is quite frankly, I'm going to be honest, it is easier on Twitch to kind of discover certain categories. However, that really only benefits the top 1%. So when you're discovered on Twitch, you probably have to have been live for a very long time, 2, 3, 4 hours with a high viewer count, as Twitch is kind of like a elitist ranking system. So what that means is the people that have been streaming more hours and have the most viewers will be at the top of the category. With that being said, however, you can, if you specifically know that creator, you can just search up that creator and find them quite easily. Whereas on YouTube, even though they're live streaming and you don't really watch their content, their live content may not be available to you, or at least available to be shown to you from the home page. So as we go on with that, it's very imperative to note that you really have to weigh in what you may like versus dislike. So, for example, if you are in that top 1%, then maybe staying on Twitch is for you because you will run the category. Whereas I think we considered it, was it macro or micro creators when we were talking about it last time? It was macro, right?
I think it was...
Did we use the term micro or macro?
Micro.
Okay.
I used micro.
So we're like, as Queenie said, was the micro creators, they are going to have very hard breaking through the Twitch pages. Whereas on YouTube, even though that their streams might not be pushed right away, the more content they make, the more they get pushed out. So we look at kind of like Twitch being the, if you have the most current viewers at the time, that is when you're going to get noticed, versus if the content you put out is quality, is when you'll be found on YouTube. So it really kind of depends on what kind of grind you really want to go on. Do you want to grind for Twitch partner to be on the top of those categories? Or do you want to put grind and time in that content, which in the long run could be more beneficial, but may see some slower growth in the beginning? It's really a good give and take. And honestly, I've been really thinking about it because, like I stated in the last video, I've been a Twitch streamer for 7 years now. And even though, like, I know there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling for anybody. Anybody can blow up in the next 20 seconds. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like that my growth has been kind of stunted a little, and I'm trying to find new revitalizing ways to bring my content to the next level. AKA, I'm using way like higher quality overlays. I have an editor for my YouTube videos. I've been pushing out shorts and TikToks. Whereas the discoverability using those things are actually more beneficial towards YouTube than they are towards Twitch. And I'll let Queenie talk about that because she is way more knowledgeable on that topic than I am.
It's funny you say that, just because I find that I've been doing a little bit more research on it, solely based on the fact that big creators are saying there is no discoverability on Twitch, and they are using TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and other means to get them to their Twitch channels. Even Instagram, going live on Instagram and then going into the Twitch stream, that's always been a big thing, or having TikTok on the side for these big TikTokers to then go to their stream. That's a big piece. But when it comes to YouTube Shorts, there's a bunch of little changes that are happening. And they're technically called channel page improvements, but it's going to vastly change the way that streams are being pumped out on Twitch. The big thing about Shorts and YouTube Shorts versus TikTok, and obviously there's nothing on Twitch, the first hour is where they pump out your content. That first hour, your viewership is going to be the most lucrative and the most vital. And a strategy that I've been thinking about for people who are going to be going into that realm and going into that sphere is if you post a short and then go live and have your live notification as a comment on that TikTok, the amount of people that are going to be going to your channel at the beginning of your stream is absolutely vital and is going to be extremely important into getting your content to new people, not just the community that you've built so far. So that's the big first piece when it comes to shorts that I've noticed. And then what would you say that that's kind of indicative of what the video said as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like we said, we want to give a big credit to that video because this is where a lot of our information is coming from. But that is absolutely one of the tactics that he talked about in the video, was going live as soon as you post a short, so that when they are in that short, that's when you get, like you said, the most interactions. And I think what YouTube calls it is click-through interactive links. I think that's what the YouTube Studio creates it. I was actually just on mine a minute ago and I already forgot. But that is kind of like where your first impressions are. So for example, Mondays are my upload days. And I've noticed the later I upload on a Monday, the worse my video does in the algorithm. And that is because of the click-through impression rate. So I need to either upload at an earlier time or on a different day when people will be clicking through the impressions a little bit more like quickly, if that makes sense. But yeah, so it's definitely something that us as small micro creators want to keep in mind when thinking about it. I'm still very much struggling because my loyalty has always been Twitch. Everything for me is set up for Twitch. I loved, and my whole thing was like, I'm going to be a Twitch streamer. However, we're seeing a shift that I didn't notice, that I didn't expect to happen. And that was Twitch. That was so indicative of sticking up for the small creator, going to more of a corporate side, and YouTube being the corporate conglomerate, going to more of a community-based side. I was not expecting that switch at all. And that is what we're starting to see. Is we're starting to see YouTube go like, here's the community feedback, we'll fix it. Thank you so much. Whereas Twitch is like, I'm Jeff Bezos, give me money. That's literally what it feels like. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I also think that Twitch, because of what it was during the pandemic and the loss of income it's currently experiencing due to people going back to work, I have a feeling that their ad revenue incentive, like the new ad program to make that money back that they are missing and they are struggling with, like they are a struggling business and they're trying to come up with ways to make money. But by doing that, they're not listening to the creators because they're so focused on them as a company and not the creators that are making their company thrive and survive.
Right.
Essentially is what it is.
I actually think we're going to have our first little disagreement right here, but I actually don't think they're a struggling company. I just think that they're putting their assets in the wrong areas and that they're just honestly getting money hungry, because we see the Amazon takeover. All they have to do if they need more money is just go to Jeff Bezos. And like, I hate to say that because like, we don't want to, be like, oh, well then Twitch is eventually going to like suck all the money from Jeff Bezos. Like, you know what I mean? Cause like, but at the end of the day, Jeff Bezos is ultimately a financer of Twitch. You know what I mean? So if they're losing revenue, like he can easily pump in like a couple mil to get better servers. Like, you know what I'm saying? If that's an issue, you know what I mean? So
we definitely disagree on that point, right? But I think the new ad thing is going to be a big deal. Another thing is localized sub plans.
Yeah.
So this is something that I definitely want to discuss, especially because me getting a sub is a lot more expensive than you would be because we're in different countries.
This is true. This is very true.
Whereas YouTube, having the ability, once you are part of the YouTube Partner Program, to set your own prices that fits for your community and to have more abilities with that sub, I feel like will also play a huge factor, which is the second point of the video that I want to bring up. Right now, in order to sub to a channel, I pay $7.12.
That's ridiculous. Wow.
Canadian.
Okay.
That's with tax.
So if that's with
Sometimes
tax,
it's $6.49, but then after tax, it's $7.12.
So
and that's not a 5 USD.
The conversion of like Canadian dollar to USD, like off the top of your head?
That would be your 5 USD, whatever you're paying.
So it's $2 more than what I'm paying, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
so it does get a little bit more pricey, and that is essentially to get your emotes, right? To get the feedback from directly from the creator. When Fuslie was on Twitch, she did so much for her subscribers. Like, I felt a part of the community. She had sub movie night where she would go in and she'd be in chat, and all of you would watch a movie. So like there were times where I would go and watch Black Widow for the first time, and I would have the chat open with her and Edison at the time, right? And that would be up, and we'd be watching Black Widow, and that was our part of our sub perk. Right. And like also she would have a sub newsletter, like a Foosletter, I think is what it was called. And she would write to her subscribers every month, specifically with news about the network.
Great idea. Oh my God.
Such a great idea, right? But that's going above and beyond for her subscribers. If you go, the general consensus is you're paying money to support that person. Half of it is being taken away, more than half. I don't know if you know this, but I get paid $2 per sub.
And they have to pay $6.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I make, I think, a little more off of that, but I think, we're both on the 50-50 split, though, right? Well,
no. We are not on the 50-50 split.
Wait, we're not?
We get less because we are not a partner. Affiliates, it says 50-50, but I have never been paid 50-50 for my subscribers. When I look at my pay stubs and I look at all the information, more is taken away because of where I am in Canada and the taxes and the laws.
I wonder if that's just like a Canadian tax thing, because I definitely have been paid $2.50 per sub, so that's...
No, I get paid $2.14, $2.25. It depends on the month and
really?
It depends on the time of year.
That's kind of crazy, actually. I don't know. Maybe
and I'm not just pulling this out of my ass either.
Yeah.
I look at my pay stubs that I get from Twitch because I'm excited about them, and because I'm also super diligent about when it comes to income tax time and doing my taxes. I'm that type of person where I keep certain tabs over that type of thing.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right, and obviously I'm not making money bags. Like, that's not it. It's more I want to know what type of income I'm getting from the other revenue sources, and that's what I was getting. And my biggest month that I even ever had on Twitch, I made more money from the bits that I got than I did from the subs that month.
Wow.
And less people did bits. It was just the way that it is in Canada. Now, the reason why the subscriber thing really bugs me with Twitch is because I'm paying the same amount, but I'm getting nothing from one creator and everything from another creator, right? Like, for when you're on Twitch, there's no button that says, okay, this subscriber thing is one size fits all. Everyone does something differently with their subscribers. Sometimes you sub and they don't even look at it because they're that big of a creator, right? And then you subscribe to a smaller creator. It doesn't mean they're younger. A smaller creator, and they might think it's the best thing in the world, and you have access to a certain part on Discord. You get into calls with them. You become a part of their community that way. I know that there's a smaller creator. She has 110,000 subscribers. She's huge. But she's a Canadian streamer, and she's made her way over the course of TikTok, and she has so many sub perks in her Discord. It's actually insane. Like, it's actually insane. She has subscriber-only bit play sounds that you can do, that you get a certain amount each month. You get to vote on what the emote of the month is going to be. Like, you have certain perks that you just don't get. And, like, that's the part that drove me on Twitch in the first place, is being a part of something, not having special access, but being a part of something, right? And on YouTube, hearing some of the things that you get with a YouTube membership, not only do you get the normal emotes, you get the normal chat things that you would normally get on Twitch, but you also have access to those things that Discord is currently allowing, which is a subscriber or membership only area where you post certain videos, post certain pictures, post certain community posts just for your members, which is exactly what Discord is doing, because Twitch hasn't been doing it, if you're catching my drift.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was actually going to bring that up, was like that Patreon aspect that YouTube's introducing. And I think that's a great idea, because that's something that I've struggled with in doing as a Twitch streamer, is trying to invent ways of my subs being able to do things. Like, back when I was having like 20 concurrent subs, like, I was really only letting them control like the music and like so when I did Shiny Sundays with Pokemon, that was like we would name the shiny after a sub, like, you know what I mean, or I would let the sub decide what Pokemon to go for. But like, I haven't really had any of those, like, I almost said initiatives, like rewards for subs, and that's what I'm hoping to gain out of like a Patreon program. But you know, Twitch kind of like looks for you to use another site. So for example, like, oh, you could be my sub on Twitch, but if you want access to my Patreon stuff, you also have to sub to my Patreon. Whereas YouTube's going to have everything together, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, that's the piece. And another piece about that is having everything together. Right now, Twitch relies heavily on current and information from other platforms.
Yep.
Right? And the big thing that this video taught me, but I also watched the actual sneak peek from the creator's YouTube thing, is when you have a TikTok and you have a link in the TikTok, or you put the YouTube sticker, the Twitch sticker, anything that has another platform, it will not be pumped into the algorithm. It will not. TikTok is designed for you to stay in the app and for you to use their services. It's not designed to promote other things. So when you're posting on there and you're saying, hey, like live on my Twitch, everyone come over, you're going to get less feedback on that because you're driving traffic away from TikTok. Whereas if you're in a YouTube short and you're saying, hey, I'm going live on YouTube, I'll be there in a second, like this is the link, you don't leave the app. Everything's all encompassed into one. It's an experience all in one.
Right.
Yeah, sorry. I realize I'm doing a lot of the talking, but
no, I'm agreeing with you. And like I said, I'm glad you're doing this because like you're a little bit more informative. Like kind of how I let off this section was like you're a lot more informative of this. Like kind of how we're doing this channel is like you are kind of like the face. So like you're putting out the shorts, you're putting out like, you know what I mean? Like the certain hashtags, certain description things. Whereas I'm like the background where like I do the editing, I do the thumbnails, I do, you know, chopping and cutting of the audio and stuff like that. So that's why like you are kind of like definitely the more like brand, I guess I would say like brand appropriate ambassador for the QueenVee podcast. Like, you know what I'm saying?
The social media expert.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Even though I'm still learning, obviously I'm not this huge creator, but I do know a little bit, which leads me a little bit into the big reason why I'm thinking about going to YouTube. Which sounds crazy. This sounds crazy, but there are 2 points kind of in one. I'm going to amalgamate them together, bring them to one. The first one is the channel home changes.
Yes. So, I'm so hyped
I'm
for
so
that.
hyped about this.
Finally, we don't have to have shorts in our gosh darn video.
Yeah, and I just sent the links to VK in the chat, but basically when you go into your channels right now, because I'm posting so many shorts every day, and I'm sure everyone else is right now, people have separate channels for their shorts because they want their main media content to look a part of a brand and look clean. Right now, I'm just posting everything. I'm throwing it all in there, right? But once these updates are created, you're gonna have tabs for your home videos, your main videos, your streams, and your shorts. And the reason why this matters is because number one, if you are streaming on YouTube, and you unlist that video, it is no longer public, you lose every watch hour that you created in there towards monetization. You lose it all. So by having these home pages, you don't need to unlist your videos anymore, and everything counts towards those watch hours, towards monetization, and towards the YouTube partner program as well. So that's a big piece. Second piece is if you have someone who is a viewer of just your shorts, when they click your channel, they are going to be directly brought to the shorts tab. And they will see every short you've ever created because that's the type of content that they watch. And it's the same thing with the people who are your main subscribers. When they get that subscriber notification and they click your channel, it's going to go straight to your main page. If you have a live notification go out, they click your channel because they mainly watch your live content and will go to the live chat, which I think is so cool. It's very intuitive. I don't know how it's going to work in practice with small creators. I think with the larger creators, it's just going to blow them up even more than they already are. Like, because if you look at Lily Pichu's channel, for example, she posts everything in there because she wants as many watch hours and as much monetization as possible on one channel, right? And it does look weird. It does look weird, especially because when shorts are formatted for the thumbnail versus main, right? You're missing a big piece, right? So I'm excited to see what this does for small creators. I'm excited what it does for the algorithm as well when it comes to pumping out live content, because that is still the big downfall. Live content and live stream, you need to click buttons. They're not going to show up on the main page. So that's something that I'm sure YouTube is looking at, but that's something that is a little apprehensive. It's a con for me still, and I'm sure it would be for you as well, right? There's no main discoverable channel page where you can click TFT and you'll see all the TFT streamers. But it is going to pump out your other content and lead to your live content, which is going to be absolutely huge.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I really don't know how to go from there, but no, yeah, 100%. I'm really looking forward to that change, especially not even like on the live streaming aspect of it. It's just if some of you guys are coming from my end and my promotion for the podcast, you guys would know that I've been posting every week, and we finally did a month of posting uninterrupted. So I'm really happy about that, but it's hard because when I look at my homepage, it really does. It's like separated. It's like staggered. Like you'll see 2 of my main videos, then 3 shorts, and then 2 of my other videos, and then another short, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But
it's the brand issue, right?
Yeah. 100%. And I definitely need to get me discoverable by VKGC. Because if you search VK, you get a popular Formula One racing person, and that's not me, obviously.
That's not you.
But I wish it was me. I'd be way richer than I am now. But no, kidding. I'm kidding. But to segue, we definitely look at creators as escape from our lives, from our daily lives. We turn to these creators for parasocial relationships and such. But then on the flip side, we notice that a certain gender or identification gets more hate than the other, and I'm talking about those people who identify as female. And that leads us to our main topic of this video, is women and people who identify as women in the gaming space. We've been kind of foaming at the mouth about this topic solely because this was the topic that kind of sparked this idea. Because there was a night, I'll remember, we were in a Discord call with a couple of the friends, and I think we were in a Valorant game. And, actually, I made a TikTok about this, and I actually got banned on TikTok. Not banned on TikTok. The TikTok got taken down from harassment because I called the guy out. But we were in a...
What?
Yeah. We were in a Valorant game, and the guy, basically, who was doing worse than both of us, because of course he was.
Classic.
And I'm saying this as an example. I'm obviously not saying this to seriously. Is he told Queenie to go in the kitchen and make him a sandwich because she was a female. Now, firstly, get a new fucking insult. That shit's fucking centuries old. Secondly, bro, I understand you're bad at the game. I'm still heated about this. I understand you're bad at the game. You don't have to take it out on other people. Get in the range, focus up. Work on bettering yourself, and don't bring other people down. But I did make a TikTok about it, exposing him, and it got deleted for harassment because I called out his gamer tag. I put his specific Valorant tag up, and apparently that was harassment because I was telling my followers to go send him hate, which is actually not what I was trying to do. I was trying to get some notification on his profile so that Riot could maybe potentially do something, which we know that is... Riot's one of the better companies, but still a lot more progression needs to be made with,
so much more
with banning of certain people, etc. But I will say, before I met Queenie and Kira, I didn't play with females, and that wasn't because it was a preference thing. It was just because I didn't know any females that played video games personally. In my world, there's very little creators in the FIFA world, which is where I was at before Valorant, and I didn't really work with any female Call of Duty players because, like I said, I was in that niche trick shotting community and not in the pub slaying like the Warzone.
You weren't in the main area,
right?
Yeah.
So, but when I started playing with them, I noticed a whole lot of ugly in the gaming scene that I didn't notice. I knew that it was in there. Obviously, I was told, KYS a lot, stuff like that. I'm not going to say it out fully. If you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't, you don't. Look it up. Don't look it up. Just kidding. But, obviously, I knew that stuff happened. I knew there was, a lot of racial stuff going on, especially in the Call of Duty lobbies. Xbox 360 days, if you know, you know. But I never took part in that. I was never, I consider myself to be an ally. I consider myself to be, a advocate for the LGBTQ. I've never used those slurs or anything like that. But I heard it a lot, and it kind of was desensitized in my gaming area, if that makes sense. I heard it so much that it didn't at first I was ooh, that, but then I heard it so much I was oh, people just legitimately say this, and it's a problem. But what am I gonna do? I have at the time 30 followers on YouTube. But then when I was kind of like desensitized to other people saying that, I'd be like, yo, just knock it off, you know, blah 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 blah. When I started playing with you guys, I noticed a whole new side that I've never experienced before, and that was the simp culture, and that was the sexist culture of, you know, just saying that you're bad at a video game just solely because you are a female or identify as a female. So I'm gonna take the back seat here again and kind of let you just kind of get your thoughts off your chest, because you are obviously a female in a creative,
in the gaming industry,
and not only just a gaming industry, but as a creator as well. And we see so many, you know, hate comments just solely because you're female, which is like ridiculous to me. So I'm gonna let you go on your tangent, and I'm gonna like cut in every once in a while, but I want you to like, I just want to know, I guess this will be like my interview to you. So like, I just want to know like, how do you deal with that firstly?
Okay. I also feel like it depends on what era of my life that I was in. Right now, I make TikToks about them because I think it's a coping mechanism, and I think it's good to call people out because people don't think that things they say on the internet matter. Like, even though it's 2022, they still don't realize that what they say matters or can come back to bite them. The Gen Z detectives are incredible. And there are people that really need to watch their back, because teenagers are going to rule the world, and they're going to get rid of a lot of people just based on what they're saying online anonymously. But I will say this right now, I did repost my Why Do Men video today, and it's doing terribly because YouTube doesn't want to pump out that type of hate rhetoric and that type of hate content that we are receiving. TikTok, it does a lot better because there's no advertisers that they need to appease, right? But the main thing with the reception is I'm used to it, which sounds terrible. Why am I used to that type? I've grown a very thick skin.
Right.
Because of this.
I think
thick skin.
I think that goes hand in hand with what I said with like the racial slurs that I heard growing up as a kid. I mean, as someone who predominantly grew up in a low income area, you know, unfortunately we saw a lot of hate towards like my community, right? And growing up, you know, it was a very diverse location. You know, a lot of my friends growing up were people of color. So when people were saying that, like, I kind of felt the, how do I say this? I kind of felt like how, for example, if someone's racially abused and they've heard it before, it's kind of desensitized to them, right? So that's kind of like how I felt, was like, because I was with them when it would happen. Like my best friend, I've heard so many bad things said about him simply just because he's black, and it hurts my heart. But like, again, because I was with him so many times when it's happened, like we just kind of shrug it off. Obviously we're like, yo, that's not cool, like shut the fuck up. But like, obviously, like, it doesn't hurt as much as it should, if that makes sense, which is a sad thing to say, and especially since it's 2022, like, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of see
it's 2022. I see the big thing I think we both want to make clear is we're not comparing racism and
absolutely not.
Sexism.
Absolutely not.
I think what we're doing, though, is taking the experience of something being desensitized because of an overwhelming amount of it.
Exactly.
Right? That's the piece there. And because I've so overwhelmingly been told sexist and misogynistic things, I have grown such a thick skin that it doesn't bug me. I'm also haven't gotten I'm not as cool as some of the people online are in being able to shut them down.
You're right. You're cooler. You're cooler.
Exactly. Right. I just kind of throw like positive remarks back at them because I'm not going to get my account banned.
Yeah.
Number one, and number two, who hurt them? Like, clearly it wasn't me. Right? Clearly there's something else going on in your heart that you need to deal with, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's the difference between us two, is because every time I hear it, and like I said, I'm not desensitized to sexism because I didn't really hear it a lot, like I said. So I'll never forget, we were in a Valorant game. It was like probably like the third time I ever played with you. It was with you and Kira and Aj, because again, 4 stacks, I think. And I'll never forget, someone said some shit. I don't remember what it was, but someone said some shit, and I flipped out. Like I like screamed. And again, this is like the third time like I've ever talked to you guys. So like obviously I'm very defensive of my friends, of people who I care about. Like I'm defensive of random people, but I'm also very defensive of like my friends. And when they said that, I'll just never forget. I fucking like flipped out, and like my parents like had to come in the room and were like, "Are you chilling?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, but like here's what happened," and it just made me mad, and I was like defending them, and you know, I think went into our private texts and was like, "Yo, sorry for screaming like that, and sorry for getting too intense like that, but like I just don't appreciate when people say things that out of pocket." Um,
Mm-hmm.
And again, the other example that comes up was you posted a piece of content on YouTube Shorts, and someone was like, "Oh, go figure," or "She's a girl," or something like that. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Excuse me, like, what does your gender or
Have
identification
to
of
do with
gender have to do with
anything.
anything?" Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. There's I don't know. That's just to me is very dumbfounding. And again, same thing with you know the comments being made in game towards you as well. So
Yes.
I you know
And
definitely
people have definitely become more emboldened in the Valorant
yes
era. I find
yes
that it's not just the game, it's the way that the game has consequences is not the best anymore. I think a big piece of why things have gotten to a point where I feel like it's a boiling point with this is because number one, we are not taught in the gaming community to call people out when they're hearing it. So if you are a male in my lobby and you're hearing someone be sexist to me, you are not taught on how to handle that either. You do a great job at it,
oh
but the
thank you
majority and the vast majority of males don't know what to do. Other women will sometimes step in, but that comes at the cost that they're now also going to receive that hate too.
yeah
Right? So then you have this whole girl on girl thing or like non-binary and girl thing where people they want to speak up and they want to say something, but then that comes at a risk of them also putting themselves at risk
mm-hmm.
and them also receiving that hate. And I think because the way the gaming industry basically supports it in the sense that they don't have a reasonable way to punish people and give consequences for these types of things, like a
yeah
chat ban, and then after a certain amount of days, you're back. Where's the
where's
learning
the
experience
right
there?
exactly because you know what
They
you're gonna
just make a
do
new account.
you already said it. Yep, I was just about to say they just make a new account, hop on the
They just
Smurf
make a new
for
account.
yeah.
And then they're proud about how many accounts they have. I know someone who has been banned 7 times because of things they've said to
Jeez,
women.
I think I know who it is.
You know exactly who it
Yeah,
is.
I think I
And
know who it is.
the thing is like there's no real repercussions. There's been no real scandal of someone huge in the gaming community getting an actual punishment. You look
Yeah,
at the Jason R situation.
yes, you're in the same. You're in my head, man. Get out of my head. No,
I
I'm
got
kidding.
you. But you look at the Jason R situation, which I I'm not gonna lie, that one hurt me
Yeah.
as a woman.
Oh
That
yeah.
one hurt me as a woman because it reminded me of the days where I was a young girl, 12 years old, on Halo, and that's what it was like. Like people would spawn camp me. Like I know this is controversial take when it comes to teabagging, but teabagging in Valorant is different than it was during the Halo days.
Mm,
All right, Valorant teabagging is completely different than what it was like on Halo. I'm slightly traumatized actually by the
yeah.
experiences I had when it
Yeah.
came to like spawn campers, when it came to people like coming and calling. I don't
Yeah.
want to say that on Twitch. You're gonna have to
Right.
bleep that out.
Yeah.
But that's what people said they were doing to me. People would add me just to block me and say that a woman shouldn't be on this game. And there was one week where someone said I was cheating and I didn't have my account for a week. And I got it back because they proved I wasn't cheating. And the guy said, "Oh, I just wanted to do it because I didn't want a woman in my game." Like these were normal things for me growing up. That's also why I stepped away from Halo because I couldn't go into a normal lobby. I had to go into infection. I had to go into the story mode, the co-op game. Like I had to have friends come with me. Like I couldn't do it alone.
Yeah. And
And
as someone who's a 12-year-old, that's
12,
that's traumatic. That is very
13,
traumatic.
14. I
Yeah.
stopped in after my grade 9 year because I was also going through some stuff at school. Obviously, I was 14 and stupid and dumb. But like
Agreed.
I look back and I'm like, now I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But like I was going
Right.
through it, right? But like I was going through some sexist stuff at school as well, mostly due to my making, but mostly not. And I didn't want to also have to deal with that at home when I'm
Yeah.
gaming, when I'm unwinding, when
A
I'm supposed to be doing
game
something
should
fun.
be like your escape, not something that just adds to the fuel of what's going on in reality, in my opinion.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I honestly will tell you this, MOBAs and FPS games are where you see it the most.
Oh,
You're not gonna see it in RuneScape.
No.
Like, I never had any issues in RuneScape.
All right,
Even
RuneScape,
Final Fantasy, never issues in Final
is
Fantasy.
the original e-dater game. I'm just putting that out there. I'm putting that out there. The original e-dater.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I will never forget logging into RuneScape when I was 14 to see my RuneScape girlfriend, and then they never came back online. Yeah, and we don't gotta talk about
heartbreak. But like, you're not gonna log into MapleStory or Genshin Impact and have these issues. You're gonna have these issues in predominantly male-dominated spaces, and predominantly spaces where the bros think they're having a guys' night, and they've never seen a woman be able to be in their lobby before, and a woman that is at their level.
Yeah. Oh no, agreed.
That's the problem. Because the majority of the hate comments that I get for being female, yeah, go back to the kitchen, yeah, go make me a sandwich. Even when I'm doing well, they can't comprehend that. There's been twice where I've gone into the game and I've said something, and the guy's like, "Why are you in my lobby?" I'm like, "Because the game thinks we're the same level, bro."
Yeah. Skill-based matchmaking. Come on.
Put it in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yo, I don't know why I'm here. I must be down bad." I'm like, "Yeah, you suck." And it's not because I'm a woman. It's because I'm gold and you're diamond. Why are you here?
Why? Yeah.
Right? I'm gold and you're high plat.
Like, you're on an alt
Why
account.
are you here?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, this is your doing. It is not my doing. It's also the game's doing. Like, the game chooses based on everything.
I think I finally come to the conclusion of, like, what makes a Smurf okay versus not okay. I think if you have a Smurf to warm up for your main account or to play with your friends and solely just, you know, realize that you're smurfing, I think that is you're okay. But if you're on a Smurf and you're being openly, like, hateful to your opponents or openly hateful to your teammates, like, that is when, like, no, bro, like, okay, if that's the case, go on your own fucking rank. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you have to come down and belittle me when you know you're obviously better, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And that's where I kind of draw the line is, okay, that's where smurfing gets, like, toxic. So, like, that's why I think there's, like, two standards of smurfing.
Yes,
not
exactly.
To deviate off of that path, but, like, that's what I just think, like, because that's where we see a lot of the hate. We see a lot of people, instead of coming down. Now, if you're a Smurf and you're trying to coach me, like, politely, sick. Thank you. I love that. If I ask you not to coach me, kindly don't coach me. But, like, if you're just doing it in a genuine, like, helpful manner, cool. That's awesome. But, like, if you're going to be like, come on, bro, why'd you dry peek that? I don't know, man, because I'm fucking plat and you're immortal. What do you want me to do, man? Like,
I'm still learning the game.
I don't, like, I'm trying to help my team. I'm not trying to go for frags like you are. Like, because that's what Smurfs do, is they try to go for frag. Like,
they go for the frags. I actually did this is a little side. I just posted a video because I watched some guy talk about Valorant's RR system and how it benefits those people who are fragging versus the people who are trying to win the game.
True. You guys should check that out. I did watch that. Fire video.
Yeah.
Fire.
But going back to our main point here, over the years, being a girl gamer, being a girl streamer is way worse than gaming. But I will say that the Valorant and the general community of gamers is not used to seeing women in games. They're not. They don't see it as a possibility. That's the best way to put it, because they don't know how to interact. And when they are presented with something that makes them uncomfortable, they're not taught the tools and strategies that they can use to keep their mouth shut and to mind your own business. Yeah. They can't do that, because when they're with their bros or their guys, right, like, they don't do that. So then why would it matter if I am a woman being able to do that? Why does it matter? Because I'm a woman. Right. And that's what it comes down to. And it's pure blatant sexism, because they don't have a real reason other than the fact that they're misogynistic.
And so
there's no real reason.
Yeah. What I want to reiterate here is, when we talk in our podcast, we have a lot of opinions, right? And we have a lot of like, you know, discussions that could differ from our opinions. However, the one thing we all can agree on is basic human rights, and sexism infringes on that, and there will be no tolerance for that. Like, especially like, if, like, anywhere, like, we kind of touched on that, like, that could be for anything. That could be from, like, fascism. I can't say that word properly, but like racism, sexism, you know, homophobia, stuff like that. That will not be tolerated, and that's something that Queenie and I will always agree on 1000%, all day, every day.
All day, every day.
Like that will not be a debate on this podcast. So if that's what you're looking for, you need to go to another podcast. Like I'm not going to be like,
this is not your type of podcast.
So this is how you think, but I'm a man, so I think different. Like that's not going to happen. Like if that's what you're looking for, that's not what's going to happen. I'm sorry. Like I personally I'm not, but I'm not like that, but and Queenie isn't either. What we will agree and disagree on is the best agent in Valorant. So what does you think is the best agent in Valorant? Little pop quiz.
I'm not answering that question. I have a very unpopular opinion.
Say it.
Because my opinion is not based on their abilities. It's based on their character artwork.
That's fine. That is literally fine.
Also, okay, so before, side note, just thinking about this too, before I talk about what it's like to be a streamer versus what it's like to be a gamer, I think also when it comes to women in gaming and the reason why so many women are struggling so much right now is because if we did that to the guys, we would get banned.
Yeah, 100%.
If I was Phoenix and I was throwing my Phoenix thing at my teammates, I would get the bans. But these guys don't.
Yeah.
And the reality is Valorant and Riot Games and Blizzard and all these big places, including on TikTok and YouTube, they are not an ethics company. They aren't ready to talk about morals and moral compasses. They are neutral. And they are Switzerland in this matter. Yeah. And so there are things that they will say. They'll say that they're pro this, they're pro that, they're pro women in gaming. But they can't really enforce that because they're a neutral category. And if they do enforce that, the majority of the people that play their game will just leave. Yeah. And that's just the reality.
And that's sad.
Of what I'm experiencing.
And that is sad.
Which is why I do think it's just going to be a never-ending cycle for us girls.
Yeah.
When we have people standing in front of us when we're trying to play the game, when we have brim mollied at us, if they corner us, if they are yelling so loud in our microphones that in a situation where we can't mute them right away, which then once again, everyone says, just mute them. But that ruins the entire game experience that's meant for calming.
Especially if you're playing a team game. Like that is not an excuse in Valorant, in my opinion, because, and again, that's going to bring up another like issue is now that this is happening, women are scared to use their mics. Where in a team game like Valorant, we have people that don't comm. Like I love Kira, but she doesn't comm if there's a stranger in there, right? Unless we kind of like feel them out. So that could be like So that could be like 8, 9, 10 rounds of no comms from her. And thankfully, I'm in a call, so I know her comms. But like for the other people, if they are cool, that kind of suffers on them. So it's like a trickle down effect. So like
and that's the big thing. It's you mute them. You do this.
Yeah.
You do that.
How
about
you correct the behavior, not mute? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of we'll just mute them. No, you should be like, well, stop being sexist. Like, that's who you should be targeting to, not the person being berated.
Exactly. And then we get to the whole point where it's like, does a company have a right to do that moral obligation to then punish people because they're being sexist?
I say yes.
They have a means to.
Yeah.
They create the system to, but they don't enforce it because then once again you get into this cycle of people constantly leaving the game.
Right, because that was what I was about to say is YouTube has that. If you're sexist in a YouTube video, it's taken down, you receive a strike. You're sexist on Valorant, you get a 30-day chat ban, you could still play the game, you just can't play competitive. So
and then you make a new account.
So what and this is the craziest thing. And this is another like big thing that needs to be discussed is you have a hacker who technically has done nothing wrong. Technically. They're hacking in the game, but they have not said any craziness. They have not said anything sexist, anything racist. They get permabanned. They get hardware banned, so they can never play the game again.
Yeah.
Someone who could say something that could potentially damage someone's life forever, 30 days. Make a new account.
30 days.
That's what's crazy to me is the fact that, and some hackers on Valorant don't even get caught.
No.
So like,
it's getting really intense.
It's just, like you said, it's more of a greed, a money thing, and a neutral thing, whatever is best for the brand. if they need to get their numbers up. I definitely understand that from a business point. However, when it comes to certain morals, that cannot be a negotiable, and that's where we see toxic fan bases, and that needs to be addressed. And we can't change that. Like you and I, we can go into lobbies and have fun together, but that's not going to help the other millions of female gamers out there who are struggling.
No. And I could calm as much as I want. I actually intentionally calm extra. And it seems like people are just going to say I'm asking for it, but I want to normalize it. Like I'm going to use my mic, even if that means one person starts using their mic that's a female, like, or someone who's non-binary or someone who's gender fluid.
So many times you talk and then someone like, okay, so for example, we were in this game, you weren't calming right away because you were probably AFK or something. The other person wasn't calming. The second you calmed, turns out the other player was a female and they started calming immediately. And then that's when, you know, they come at the end of the game saying, you guys were so much fun. Thank you so much. Like GG's, like blah, blah, blah. Like listen, I have it on my arm. I don't know if we could see it. Just peace, love, positivity, guys.
Peace, love, positivity.
Just, you don't need to be hateful. You can get tilted at a video game and still not be sexist. You can get tilted at a video game and still not be racist. Like, I don't know. It's frustrating. And the thing, and another, to boost your point, what you said, is the immediate thing that comes to my head is Nadia, the huge Call of Duty streamer who's been accused of cheating and accused of VPNing and shit like that. Before I even go into the VPN thing, even if she was cheating, she should not receive death threats for being a woman in gaming.
No.
You can be mad because a female is better than you. I would just be mad that someone's better than me no matter the gender, because like I want to be better. I want to be the best of the game. But just because she's a female, you can't be giving her hate. Like if the hate is warranted, which I don't think any hate is warranted, but like for example, if she said some crazy shit, like if she said like, again, something hateful and she got hate back, that's different than just playing the game. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's different than just existing.
Exactly. And kudos to her for being thick-skinned, steering into that, and now because of all this hate, we say any publicity is good publicity. She's a top 1% content creator on Twitch now and securing the bag. Personally, I, you know, for a while was like, yeah, she's cheating. But then I realized, nah, she's just she's branding it like that because that's how many people were just salty that she's better than them.
Yeah.
So then when I was like, wow, she actually isn't cheating, like that, like I respect that grind. I really do. Yeah. And I respect anybody's grind, to be honest. Get your bag.
Yeah.
Like
get that bag.
That's why like whenever like people are like on like the hot tub streamers, bro, I don't know, you can't hate on them. Get your bag. Literally get your bag. So many people hate on that. Just get your bag. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Just do you. But yeah, so that, I don't know. Also, kids, remember, VPN in a non-tournament is okay. VPN in a tournament is bad. All right? It's not technically cheating.
And then just looking and thinking about our podcast, I think I actually do want to save the streaming as a girl until next episode, because I just remembered a story that I want to share.
Ooh, you guys are getting cliff-hung. How do you feel about that? You're getting cliff
I have two stories. One of them has to do with me being a streamer on Twitch and some of the things I've received. But I have one from when I was just gaming before I was streaming that I do need to talk about because I need to normalize it. And it goes back into that whole dating culture and the whole culture on gaming that boys are going to get something for boosting a girl. So that's where I want to go and take this.
Yeah,
so
I would love to hear from that.
It's in the screenshots are in my Why Do Men shorts video. So go check that out if you want to see the receipts, because I do have receipts. Because I also want to talk about how Riot Games handled the situation and ended on there. Solely based because it still gets my blood boiling to this day. And as soon as I say it, I know VK is going to just have to leave. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, no.
So I'm a little emotional still about it. Yeah. So this happened, I want to say, December 2020. I want to say, like, that era of time in my life, November. I was playing League. So League of Legends. And
wait, are we going to do this right now?
We're going right now.
Oh, we're going right now. Never mind. Not getting
We're going right now.
Here we go. Let's
go. I was playing League of Legends because that was the era of my life where I was playing TFT and League of Legends. It was like December 2020, November 2020. I was obviously in a relationship with Jatsky, still am, love him to death. And I was just gaming. I was just playing ranked, vibing. I met a team of people on ranked solo duo that I really liked to play with. It was really fun. We were having good team comms, and I got a friend request from a couple of them at the end of the game. I accepted them. I joined one of them for duoing, and then the next day I joined the second one for duoing. In that time, I was just in-game chatting them, right? And then the third day, I went back to the first guy that I was duoing with because my goal was just to get to silver. I'm a low elo player. My goal was just to get to silver. I got to silver, so I just went into the thing to thank him. I didn't realize I'd gone into League Voice. Okay. So the way it works when you go into a lobby is if you do not disable League Voice, it will automatically have you in League Voice. He was also in League Voice. So I had said what I was typing out. I said, thank you so much for playing games with me. I'm now silver. I'm so happy. This is where I want to be. And I was saying that out loud. And he's like, oh my God, you're a girl? And obviously my league handle is Atomic Kitten 875. Like, it's the most girliest thing ever. And I think it's hilarious every time. But he didn't realize up until that moment when he heard my voice. So I get out of League Voice. I'm like, yeah, I'm a girl, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yo, like, we should play more. Like, this is so fun. Like, you're a pretty good support. Like, we could do this. And originally, I did not see the red flags from this. I was just like, oh, this is great. I have a new league friend, right? I didn't see the red flags. Now, like, the amount of red flags that are out right now, crazy. We play a couple more games with him. I have his gamer tag in the video because I do want to call him out. Basically, I played one more game with him. Throughout the comms, like, we were actually comming pretty well. It was pretty positive. Closer to the end of the game, it started to get creepy. It did start to hit the creepy route. He did start to say, like, oh, like we could have had that kill if you had said this to me. Like, oh, we could have had this if you had done this for me. And that was kind of the rhetoric and things that were being said. So then at the end of the game, I said, hey, I got to go. I left and I went into a TFT game quickly, like immediately. That he wasn't interested in TFT. And I get a direct message from him being like, baby, like, we should totally do this again. Like, I could totally boost you, but you're going to have to do something for me.
Nah,
and I was
nah.
That's not even the worst part. I say, like, I'm starting to egg this on because I'm like, I'm going to report this guy. So I'm egging it on a little bit. I'm like, oh, like, what are you talking about? Like, we were just gaming. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, I can't wait for you to get on a Discord call with me. And I can't wait to like go on video and so that you can see what you do to me, things like that. And the rest of the screenshots are in there talking about him, like, basically jerking off on Discord while I'm just talking and playing League of Legends with him. But I reported the account. I took the screenshots and I kept him on my friends list because I wanted to see what Riot Games would do. So I put in the ticket. I did not put in too much detail in the ticket. I said, hey, this is someone on your game. I want this handled, is essentially what happened. And I explained the whole story to them. And the first thing I got that made me cry and why I haven't been playing League lately, the first thing they said is you're not supposed to add strangers on this game. So to avoid this in the future, you shouldn't be adding people in this game. That was the first thing they said to me, that I was at fault because I added them. Which, to each their own.
But still, bro, like
that was, the blame was put on me. And to be fair, I did add them. They are strangers on the internet, but you created the platform for me to do so.
It's a social media platform. That's half of the game.
So I got put the blame. They said that they were going to handle it, and they wanted me to block and delete this person.
Okay.
I didn't do it. I wanted to see what punishment they would get. They said they would handle it. I still have the emails. Nothing ever happened. He didn't get banned. He didn't get chat banned. He still sent me messages. Still sends me messages to this day. To this day. He sent me a message last week. Never did anything. His account's still there, and he's still vibing, and he's still doing the same thing to other people because he told me about his new Discord kitten. Riot doesn't care because they don't want to deal with it. They put the blame on the person. It's my fault because I added a stranger on the internet. And that's how they handle it.
I wish you could see my face cam right now. I'm like smiling because I don't know how to look. Like I don't know how to process what you just told me. That's fucked.
Yep.
Oh
That's a normal
God.
experience for me. And that was all because I loaded in and my League voice was on. I mean, my account name is Atomic Kitten 875. He was going to find out it was a female regardless. But I did nothing except game with him. I played Soraka in those games. I played Ashe while he supported me. Like, totally normal things.
I don't know.
And considering what I talked about, no, it's basically you're just in a lane together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The part that frustrates me the most is because then, literally a week after, I met some of my best friends in gaming through an ARAM.
Which is Kira and Boyko, right?
No, pre that, like January 2021, when someone linked their Twitch stream. I went to their channel.
That's right.
Yeah. Which is the exact same thing that I did when this guy messaged me those crude messages over DMs.
Holy,
So within 1 week, I had gotten, which we should block that out because YouTube will not put that in the algorithm. And then I met the best friends in my entire life.
Let me write that down. 1 hour.
Yeah. The reality is these gaming companies can't deal with these people because they are the main people who fund the game. If they do take the moral high ground and they take a stance on one side or the other, they're no longer neutral. And they have a system in place for reporting, and they think that that's enough, when right now it's no longer enough. It's not just about me going back to the kitchen. It's not just about the sexual comments. It's about me being able to get into a game and not feel, excuse me, and not feel like I'm going to be attacked.
Yeah.
It's not just about my abilities in the game. It's because I'm a woman, because of the way I talk, because of the way I do things. Everything I do is going to be hyper criticized because that's just the way that the system is. And the one thing I encourage every single person listening to do is if you hear it, no matter what, even if it's a text chat, even if it's just a voice chat, even if it's the enemy team, call them out. You make lighthearted jokes and you do something about it. You don't sit idly by because that's what's been happening.
Yeah, I agree.
And nothing's been done.
Yeah.
And to end the whole women in gaming thing, I met up with one of my best friends moved away to Vietnam, which is pretty exciting. She's in Portugal right now, and they're just going to Vietnam.
Portugal!
Very, very exciting. While I was there, one of her friends' boyfriends was there, and he works in esports out in I shouldn't really say where it is. Out in a different part of Canada than we're currently in.
Okay, yeah.
Really far away. Think like New York to California distance.
Okay.
Pretty far away. And the main thing he said when he heard I was in gaming, he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you're the first female I've ever met that games. And I was like, what? Like, I have girl stacks all the time. Like, I hang out with, like, females who game all the time. And he's like, I've never met anyone else who plays Valorant. I've never met anyone else who knows what Blizzard is. Like, I've never met anyone. And I said, how is this possible? We're both the same age. Like, how is this possible? And he was a really sweet guy. He has a great, really absolutely great gaming news newsletter. I'm going to link it down in the description below. If you ever want to get caught up on gaming news, he sends out a newsletter every 3 days that kind of sums up what's going on in the gaming world, and it's excellent. But the main thing that he told me is no matter what I do, don't stand by and be quiet. Because the main thing he says, because he's never seen a woman in gaming, he's on that other side that we've been talking about. He says that even his best friends, even the people he's been gaming with, he will shut down
Yep.
and he will make sure that they know, and he won't talk to them again until they change their behavior. And even if he's doing that and he doesn't even know a woman in the game, that's changing things.
Yeah.
So by saying something, by doing something, it's not just about reporting anymore. And if they start yelling back at you and our role is to mute them and report them, no, call them out on their shit.
Literally.
Post a
Absolutely.
TikTok on it, blow it up. Do what we need to do. I'm at the
Facts.
point now where it's not that I want blood, I want justice. Because I am powerful right now. I have thick skin. I could care less, but I can tell you right now, my 12-year-old self playing Infection, getting spawn camped and having people yell at me, laugh at me, make sexually crude jokes to me, could not handle it. And did not handle it. So it's going to help one person. It's going to help many people.
True. And this is a message from a guy to all the other guys out there. Mm-hmm. Stop fucking doing it, weirdos. I know for a fact that the people who are doing this behavior are people that don't know how to socialize in real life. Stop hiding behind a screen. And if you are that tough and you are going to make those comments, at least show your fucking face online. Don't be those people that hide behind an anime profile picture and rate people's bodies. If you're going to be creepy and weird, at least show your fucking face and own it. Because that way we know how to we now know how to put a face to the weirdo, and that your life will be hell. Stop hiding behind a keyboard. Stop doing this fucking behavior. And for the people who don't do this behavior but also sit idly by, start standing up for people.
Yeah.
Like, it'll make you feel so much better. It'll make them feel so much better. Start sticking up for people, for real. Even if it's just a random girl in a Valorant queue that you met up with, stick up for her stick up for her or them if that becomes an issue. And guess what? You might even make a friend afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Just be better. Like,
just be better.
I'm doing a
because it starts not just from the women.
Right. Honestly, we men need to hold other men accountable who act like fucking boys. If you act like this, you are not a man. You're a fucking child. Just so you know. And you're not cool. You might get a laugh in that 30 seconds and then you're going to go lay in bed all night alone, fucking crying because you're a loser. Because you're saying this shit online. Listen, I'm really holding back right now because I'm not going to lie, your story kind of really fucking heated me. But, like, seriously, just do fucking better. Like,
do better.
What are you going to gain out of being rude to someone, anyone, male or female, like on the internet? What are you going to gain from that? Seriously, because I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm fucking seething. I don't know if I'm smiling and I'm laughing because that's how I cope. But,
that's how you cope.
Yeah.
But also, it's supposed to make you uncomfortable because it made me uncomfortable. And we need to talk about it because we need people to be uncomfortable because that's how change is enacted. And
if you're sitting here listening to this podcast and you're not uncomfortable, you might need to do some reflection. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So, again,
and with that said,
I just want to say, we talked about this in the first episode. Some episodes will be deeper than others. This was definitely a very deep episode. Definitely adhere to the trigger warning that was put on in the beginning of this video, and definitely just take care of each other. You know,
take care of each other.
At the end of the day, peace, love, positivity. Like I said. I know it's I can say this because it's self-deprecating, but I know it's the whitest fucking thing I have tattooed on my body is peace, love, positivity. But seriously, in all honesty, like that is honestly a good motto to live by. And even if it's not that motto, at least it's make it something positive and beneficial and put good energy out in the world. So yeah, Queenie, with that being said, do you want to go into any other topics or we want to try to wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up for today and save because I also want to say that my experience as a gamer girl and my experience as a streamer girl, very different.
Very different.
And I definitely think it deserves its own part of the podcast.
Yeah, I agree. I 1000% agree. But Queenie, I just want to say personally, thank you for sharing all of that. I know it's very hard to go into those details. And for anybody in the comments that might be trying to type some weird shit out, it won't be public, so don't waste your time doing it. But yeah, thank you again, Queenie. Queenie, I'm really happy that I met you in a Valorant queue.
I am too.
I'm so happy.
Just remember that Riot Games didn't want it to happen. I'm not supposed to add
Didn't-
strangers on the internet.
I know. Don't add strangers on the internet, folks. Don't add strangers.
Yeah, you'll
'cause
end
that's
up like
the
us.
issue. That's the issue.
That's
right?
the issue.
Yeah, this is a very toxic relationship we got going on right now.
Very toxic. Not to make a podcast about it and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and I also just want to say a huge thank you to VK for hearing me out too. Like, I did a lot of the talking on this podcast, but I also think that like having your perspective is key.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about my experience. You are also now a part of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are a part of gaming, and what you are doing is playing a part.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that, because I know my methods may be aggressive sometimes when I hear hateful comments, but seriously, like, I can't stand that type of stuff. Like, again, we'll get into it in another podcast, but like, I've literally called people out on the streets that I've never known that could have resulted in fights, and I didn't give a fuck, because like, that's just uncalled for. But yeah, like I said, don't sit there and do nothing, guys. Seriously, stand up for people that you don't know. I've never met Queenie in person, and yet I go to bat for her every time there's hate directed towards her. Be that person. Go to bat for your female friends who are being berated. And
I also do want to add in there, a lot of the time we can, as females, stand on our own. We do need the men to be helping us. It is a group effort. It's not he's fighting my battles for me. He's fighting them alongside and with me.
We are fighting, not you.
We
not
are
me.
fighting.
We are fighting.
Exactly. It's not just justice for me. It's justice for everyone.
And I will say, like, again, this is important to acknowledge, is as a white, straight male, we are the most privileged. We are the voice that will be heard the most. It sucks to say, but if you don't acknowledge that, there won't be change. So definitely help, and don't try to take over the situation. Support the situation. That is what you should do. And because your voice will be heard the loudest. It's an unfortunate part of our society, but it is the truth, and we need to change that one Valorant game at a time, or one league game at a time.
Yeah, but with that said, I think we are going to end here for today. And with that, I also just want to point out that next time we'll probably be talking a little bit about what it looks like to be a streamer and what our experiences are like, VK's experience versus my experience, and talk a little bit about bridging that together. And I also think that if you watch this podcast, I'd like you to comment something down below about your experience, whether it be supporting a girl gamer or you are a girl gamer. Talk about your experiences down below, because I think that that's going to empower us and encourage others that you're not alone and we can do this.
Yes. Let this be the catalyst to start some sort of movement. Even if we help one person, that's one person that might not have been helped if they didn't listen to this podcast and didn't see helpful comments. So let's get that down there in the comment section below. Again, this was a little lengthy, so I hope you guys enjoyed and you guys were relaxed and hanging out, even though this was kind of like a deep podcast. Hopefully next time around it won't be as deep, but again, it could. So just strap it in. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, again, guys, I just want to end by thanking you guys so much for your support again. The love and support you've been showing us on socials and in the comment section below, and by the subscriptions that we've been seeing have been immaculate. We really thank you guys so much, and I can't wait to record more podcasts alongside Queenie. And don't worry, guests are coming. Guests are coming, so we will have more people on here. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we shall see you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode.